Let's head over to our kitchen now and check in with ABC7 Culinary Director Judy Gallagher and see what she's fixing for us today. Hi, Judy.
Well, hi there, Scott. Maybe it's in honor of the new flight to New England, but I am making New England style nachos. I'm making seafood nachos today. I'm using a canned Bar Harbor lobster bisque that's going to be the base. We're going to make a nice cheesy sauce. It's going to be married into that. I have some shrimp I'm going to chop up and some crab meat, that lump crab meat that I found on sale that we're going to all put together with some mozzarella cheese. So when my friends come over to watch the Patriots, we're going to have a little uptown going on. Start with Frontera brand tortilla chips. I love these and I just found them yesterday on sale, which is even better. 2 bags for $5 over at the Fresh Market. So we're going to build our nachos today by making a thick cheesy mozzarella sauce, and again, this sauce with the lobster bisque. You can certainly start with a homemade bisque if you want, but I'm going to make it really, really easy for you. And then we'll chop up some already pre-cooked shrimp. I pulled the tails off, but you know what? We're going to put the tails, they can seep into the bisque for about another 20 minutes just to extract a little more flavor. Then we'll strain it, and then we have that sauce. So I want you to stay with me the whole hour because we have real New England seafood nachos coming up for our playlist today. That's right, they're seafood nachos, as a matter of fact, so staying in that New England Patriots kind of theme. When we're not rooting for the Patriots, we are rooting for the Bucks, don't you worry, but this is going to work no matter what your team is. So let's get started. I've taken some of the Frontera tortilla chips and I'm going to sprinkle some shredded mozzarella cheese and stick it in the broiler. If you're like me, the biggest bummer about nachos is when you get to the bottom of the plate and there's nothing left but the tortilla chips. So I can't have that. So let's do it in layers. It's simply the same way I do my salads at home. So now I'm going to make a roux. A roux is one of those things that you definitely want to learn how to make, and it's so easy. You want to take a very refined, quick mixing flour, equal parts of melted butter to the flour. And I think the refined flour is the way to go because it takes less time to cook out that taste of the flour. So as you can see, we're just adding little bits at a time, and you make a paste out of it. I mean, you clearly want to make a paste. Now, at home, I tend to heat up the bisque with cream in one pot, and then I do my other sauce and I just keep marrying. But you know, the average person at home doesn't want to spend too much time cooking, and I want to make this easy for you. So I've modified it a little bit. So we have the lobster bisque in a pot that's already heating up. I'm going to bring the temperature up. We're going to cook this just a little bit. Don't let it brown because it's going to change the flavor. A brown roux you use for something like a jambalaya gumbo, but here we just take the lobster bisque, or shrimp bisque is fine. For me, the lobster bisque is the better choice because I want to bring in those flavors. So now the cheese is melted. Pull this baby out. There we go. See what I mean? So people that get to the bottom, they're going to actually get some goodness too. That one's on the side. That's for John Scalzi. So I'm going to slowly add some half and half. It's fine if you want to use heavy cream as well, but you know, this is going to be a really rich dish, and a lot of it depends on your portion size. So if you're serving other things, what you're going to have with it. So we want to get it to, that looks like a good color, so we're adding a little bit lightness. That's how you can tell on the base whether you're adding the right amount of cream. So let's start to thicken the sauce. It's take about 5 minutes whisking, and when I come back, I'll be ready to start adding in those layers and the shrimp and the crab meat. Ooh, it's going to be colossal today. Well, we're really getting there, Scott. So I have the first base, the first layering done. And this is kind of a group participation event in eating, so I'm making a nice big platter. So we have our lobster bisque that I've thickened up by making a roux, the flour and melted butter, and of course I added just a little more cream because the bisque by itself might be just slightly salty. So now we're going to take, remember I melted the cheese on that bottom layer. I added crab meat, some lump crab meat, and some shrimp. So we have that layer done. Now we got to get to the top layer because we're really stacking this, right? We're going to basically do the same thing all over again with the top layer. So we have the sauce. if you make the sauce ahead of time, I need to let you know that it's going to thicken up. So if you make it and then you decide to refrigerate it overnight, it's going to thicken up. You may need to cut it with a little bit of the half and half the next day, but by all means you can do that. Now let's talk about Botarga. Chances are football friends coming over and don't necessarily need to know that they're having smoked mullet, which is Botarga, but Sarasota is very proud to have their own smoked mullet factory and this is going to add a lot of flavor. It's not quite as salty as a caviar, and what they do is they smoke it and it's a dried flavor, but it enhances that seafood base that you have. So we're going to just sprinkle some in the layers, and I just use the tip of the knife so I don't get too much on. Let's go ahead and let's add some scallions. Now while we were off air, I added some Parmesan cheese and some more little extra mozzarella cheese to our sauce. Okay, so we're making it, it's really cheesy, it's really gonna be yummy, but again, one plate like this should be able to feed 6 to 8 people because it's super rich. Okay, so we have our second layer coming out. Oh yeah, look at that. Now, at home, you can be as simple as to just put it out with a pot holder and layer it right there, but I'm gonna make it a little bit official in the platter side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some pieces like this, and you're probably gonna wanna use a spatula at home. I have those restaurant fingers, so the heat doesn't really bother me that much most of the time. So we're gonna go ahead and just put a few more layers there. There we go. Now, as we layer it, we're going to put in some more shrimp and crab. And if you haven't figured it out yet, by all means, you can turn this into just a dip. So see how thick the sauce has gotten now? There we go. I think by the time Scalzi gets over here for a taste, it's going to really be married well. And I'll turn him into a Patriots fan, no doubt. Stay with us. We'll be back to tell you how you can get the recipe and so much more. We got to dabble.
Where are you going?
It,
come
right?
over. Come over.
I mean, I know you.
Hooked. These are awesome.
Thanks.
These are really great.
Well, I had it on my mind yesterday. I need to tell you, I had it on my mind all day. I am going to make lobster nachos. And you know, lobster prices obviously have gone up. They're not like they were last year. And I thought, how can we find this way to do it? And it's by using a good brand of lobster bisque as a base and building from there. With crab meat was on sale for $12.99. Big can. And it was the good crab meat at Fresh Market. So I'm like, there we go. We've got some shrimp, we have some crab meat. You could even top it with a little sweet corn, melted mozzarella cheese. You got to dip in the sauce though, dude.
Well, you know what? I have never had a seafood nacho dish before. I'm sold. This is awesome. Got to get this recipe on our website, mysuncoast.com. Check it out. The sauce, well, I can't say it makes the day because the whole dish makes the day, but it's fantastic. Good job, Judy. Home run.
Thank you.
Boom. Out of the park. Scott?